Hello, family. It's your boy Javian Lorenz Moore, a senior music major, vocal performance emphasis, currently attending the Morehouse College. And today we're going to be discussing something that's very, very important to your health, important to completing specific tasks, attentiveness, presence, everything. This topic is extremely important to your productivity. But before we get into the topic, I want to introduce my guest, my boy Jordan. He's in the Morehouse College Glee Club. He's currently a sophomore at Morehouse College, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to tell you a little bit more about himself.
How y'all doing? I'm Jordan Stewart. It's in the house, I'm a sophomore biology major on a pre-med track, hoping to become a doctor later on in life, Um, I really excited to be here, So,
Good. Yeah, good. Glad to have you here, my boy. Thank you for agreeing to join the show. So today we're going to talk about the importance of mental health. Um,
mm,
as we all know, without a positive or a healthy mentality, then it's quite impossible for healthy things to be produced. Um,
mm,
you can't have positive energy as an outcome if you have negative energy on the inside. So that being said, can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with mental health, or how you think or how you feel about mental health overall?
oh, mental health is really important. And mental health is a huge part of my life because I've struggled with mental health since about the age of 6. I struggle with clinical depression, and you know, uh, for most of my life, I've experienced suicidal ideation. The common effects of depression, so like loss of motivation and things, increased sleeping, increased appetite, loss of appetite. And one thing I can say, like how Javian said, mental health definitely affects your productivity. This semester has been extremely hard. This past 2 years, it's been extremely hard mental health journey. Recently, I just was discharged from the psych ward at Grady Hospital. And it was an eye-opening experience. One thing I can say, it was definitely needed, and in there, I was just realizing that everybody has issues to some type of degree. Some may be more severe than others, but it really people coming to get help and knowing that they need help and knowing that it affected their life in negative ways really opened my eyes, because it made me feel like I wasn't the only one that was going through a tough time in terms of mental health, and that you know a lot of people were struggling, and the pandemic has definitely made it worse. But I really wanted to hear your stance on this, JB.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you once again for being so open and transparent when it comes to this. Um, my stance on mental health, well, just like you said, the pandemic did not make mental health any easier for anybody. Even for individuals that weren't suffering from anything beforehand, the pandemic
Mm,
kind of made people realize any underlying problems that were going on mentally. For example, for me, being in the pandemic, being cut off from people. And first of all, let me just say, I'm a people's person. Like, I love talking to
mhm.
people. So,
That is true. That
and
is true.
even me and you had a conversation, like walking through Morehouse, I'll talk to somebody I ain't never seen before, be like, "What's up, bro?" Like I've known him, but
Right.
I ain't never known him better. I just feel like if you see somebody, you should speak. That's what I feel like. But
I
not
agree.
having the opportunity to do that and engage with other people definitely was taxing on my mental. Um, it it came to a point where I had to literally sit down and deal with how I was feeling. And that's the positive thing of the pandemic. It kind of forced everybody to sit down and deal with their feelings, accept their feelings, or accept any problems that they may have had mentally or emotionally.
Right.
So that
Um.
definitely affected me in that way. And dealing with that, even though I may not have dealt with it if it not have been for the isolation and the pandemic, dealing with that made me realize that there are definitely still things that I need to work on mentally, or as far as expressing how I feel mentally or emotionally. Um, so, for example, if I feel some type of way, and this was before the pandemic, if I felt some type of way about somebody's interaction with me, um, I used to have, and this sounds pretty bad, but I used to have like this little mental rule. It's kind of like three strikes. Like I would be like, okay, the first time you did something, I'm gonna chill. I ain't gonna say nothing. Second time you did something, I'm like, all right, come on now. You did it the first time. Third time you say something, then I'm gonna say something. But
Mm,
that's problematic because
very.
not only is that a build up of
Mm-hmm.
tension and
Causes you to explode.
feeling some type of way.
Right.
Right. Feeling some type of way about something, somebody, or situation, but you're not being real with yourself and you're not being honest with yourself and how you feel in that moment. So, understanding that, understanding a lot of past things that I haven't dealt with and actually having the opportunity to sit down and deal with them was definitely a journey, but at the same time, it was very liberating as well. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, that's my stance. But for you, I got a question like, what made you feel so comfortable with discussing this topic?
So, uh, while I was in the psych ward during a group therapy session, so like they have something called groups where basically clinicians or like psychologists or say chaplains, they'll come and they'll do group therapy sessions where you basically speak and work through your issues in different ways. Like they'll have different methods for you. And during one of the group therapy sessions, everybody started to express their disdain with the taboo or the negative connotations in going to a psych ward. And uh, one of the uh, one of the patients there was like, "Yeah, I thought about when getting out, posting something on my highlights, talking about, oh, just fresh out of the mental ward or the psych ward, fresh out of the mental hospital." And you
Wow.
know, and they were like, yeah, somebody was like, don't. One of my friends was like, don't do that, and I was like, well, I don't think you should worry about what your friend thinks because at that point, you're stigmatizing like a healthy lifestyle. Like going to get help isn't. Uh, it's not really saying that, oh, you're crazy, like going to get help there, but it's really saying that you're strong, like you notice that you have an issue that you want to solve and you're seeking the help and the tools, to help you succeed later on. And I really like held that in my heart. And as somebody who also deals with a lot of issues by joking about it, or smiling through it, um, I really felt it was necessary to kind of destigmatize it in my own way. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking help, and going to a psych ward does not make you crazy. While I don't really like the word, like I don't really like calling people crazy because just people deal with issues, and the mind may be strong in a supercomputer, but it is also fragile, and it can be it creates mechanisms in order to protect itself. Like, for example, a lot of people with multi-personality disorder, uh, they've gone through something traumatic, and their brain tries to protect them by creating barriers or different personalities, And while in there, like, I really, I really like knew, I really realized what that meant, because it was a patient and he had MPD, and one of his, like, the personality that would always, the main personality that wasn't his, that would always try to get control, was like, it was asking for a new body, and they were like, well, we can't provide you a new body, and it was like, well, you just want him to suffer then. And I found that really interesting and eye-opening. It was like, just it's really just a failsafe. Like, your mind doing a lot of this stuff is because of, it has fail-safes in place, because maybe you've been hurt or it's afraid of being hurt. Like, anxiety is one of those fail-safes. While it may cause a lot of problems, because trust me, I also have anxiety, but it's a lot of your body, your mind afraid of you getting hurt. So that's why I'm pretty open about it now. Just really want to destigmatize it.
Today, we're going to be making some southern fried okra. I know you guys probably saying, ooh, I don't like okra, it's too slimy or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, the way we're going to deep fry this thing, you're not going to taste any slime. Let's go.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Well, look, you might not be popular, but my favorite character is Celestial because
One of the quotes that I wrote down in the book that kind of stood out to me was, "Love is the enemy of sound judgment."
She seemed like a very needy woman. And I can't even respect Andre, because how do you prey on your friend's wife while he's incarcerated? Like, I just can't get with that. And maybe I got too invested in the book, That's the point.
Honestly, feel like every black man should get therapy. Honestly,
Definitely.
the amount
Definitely.
the amount of trauma that we experience on the daily, that we've experienced throughout America's history, that black people have experienced as a whole,
Hmm.
is it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. And I feel
Hmm.
like, as far as black people in the community, sometimes we do exactly what you just said you didn't like. Sometimes we look at getting help as being crazy or having a problem, when in reality you're literally trying to resolve um, the issue that you recognize inside of yourself.
Hmm.
And it's not even that, it's just you with that specific issue, because many people have mental issues and don't know it. They just accept the
Yep.
fact that, okay, this is how I am, or this is just my nature. But in reality, it's
Hmm.
like people are dealing with things on a daily that they might not express, or maybe they just don't know how to express. So I think yeah, that's very
Exactly.
interesting, bro.
Self-awareness
Yeah.
can save you. Self-awareness is a blessing, and a lot of like a lot of people don't realize that noticing something is wrong with you can really, change your life for the better. Just acknowledging and working towards resolving it. So that's what you're saying is real. A lot of people try to push things off to the side, like, and it creates, it could possibly create addiction issues and stuff like that. Like, I come from family of alcoholics, and both sides actually. I can see this is crazy, but I can see the mental illness in them. And alcoholism in itself is a mental illness, but I can see the mental illness in them, and I can see them trying to deal with life through substances. And like, it's pushed me to where I'm like, I don't want to be like them. And because I know I'm susceptible to alcoholism, I don't drink. And I know I have depression, so I don't drink, other than the fact that I'm underage. But, it's just, it's just, you have to really recognize that you can't do it all on your own. You cannot do it all on your own. You can't heal your own issues, which is why I agree so much with the stance that we all need therapists. Black men definitely need therapists. Everybody in this world needs a therapist, and therapy really helps,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's real, for real. Yeah. So how would you say, because we mentioned the pandemic earlier, how would you say the pandemic affected you in compared to where you are now?
Well, we were talking about this before, but I feel that before the pandemic, I've always dealt with depression. So that wasn't really the thing that got worse. I feel like my anxiety got even worse, my social anxiety. So I've always been one of the quiet people that you meet at first, and they have to open up later on, and then they're loud. But I would be able to, like, I guess in a sense, live without using my phone as much. Like, I love music, so that's that. I always had that. But like FaceTiming, I would never like to FaceTime it. I would never feel anxious over a text unless I really needed a response. But during the pandemic, since it was the only way I could communicate with people, I would always want to be on FaceTime. And when I text, since it's not an immediate response, my anxiety would start acting up, and it was just it wasn't a good time, I'll tell you that. And like the readjustment period, when everybody's out of their isolation and everybody's talking again, it was a really hard adjustment period. And I had to realize that it gotten harder. And I feel like I adjusted faster than most. I'm not gonna lie about that. I really do. I feel like I adjusted faster than most, but I can see the act of adjustment in my peers. But yeah, that's how it really affected me. How do you what are other ways you think it affected you? Like, did it affect your mood a lot more, or like did it affect even the way you interact, like down to the T, the way you interact with people when you were out of isolation per se?
Most definitely it affected it. It's amazing how you describe social anxiety and how much I identify with it. And that's just because, like, literally, that's crazy. Literally, it would be like, well, yeah, I used to be like just like how you described. So keep to myself,
Mm.
quiet person. But then when you open me up, or I get out of my shell, you can't shut me up. Like keep going, keep
Right,
talking.
right.
I was like that, literally for real. I was like that. Honestly, I would say I was like that until after the pandemic. To be honest, um,
Mm.
a lot of my church family has always seen me as JB, always outspoken, outgoing. But before I was the person that they would know me as, like I was really quiet into myself. And
Mm.
me becoming comfortable with the individuals I was around obviously made them see my personality. So as far as how it's affected me after with the pandemic, um, in a way, I haven't really depended upon remaining quiet before interacting or before fully showing my personality. Um, Now, at the same time, I am mindful of how much of my personality I show certain individuals because I feel like you can't show everybody everything about yourself because
Very true.
some folks will try to take advantage of that. But
Mm.
um, I am more comfortable with being upfront and showing individuals the essence of my character as soon as I introduce myself. So that comes from, or that goes along with me speaking to random people that I ain't never seen before, or
Mm.
me having a conversation with someone that I never had a conversation with before, and actually being interested rather than just saying, "Hey, how you doing?" and walking by and not even listening to
Right,
what
right.
they're saying. So that's how it's affected me. It made me more intentional with my interactions and more purposeful with the conversations I have.
Mm.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
We are still talking all about the season of fall.
Hey, Miss Cam. Hey, Miss Cam. Hey, Miss Cam, I love you.
I can definitely agree with the like choosing to be more purposeful with your conversations because honestly, yeah, man, I used to spew nonsense and it used to be to the point where people would be like, "What are you talking about? You need to be quiet." But like
Literally, bro. Me
I
too.
feel like yeah,
For
I feel
real.
like I had to. I think the isolation, although it was really mentally taxing, I feel like it offered a lot of um, reflection and introspection. I feel like the that was the best part. You got to spend so much time with yourself, and you got to realize things about yourself that you may have not realized before because you were so occupied with your daily activities. And I was able to realize um, when I needed to stop talking. I was able to realize things that made me tick, and I really hope that a lot of people realize those things because uh, they're vital to, I guess, worthwhile social interactions. Uh,
Mm.
but you shouldn't you shouldn't like treat everything as every interaction as like a networking or business interaction. It's okay to have fun, but
Exactly.
just people definitely needed that retrospection and introspection, because um I feel like it makes you a better person. It makes you realize what you want. So I that's one thing I hope most people took away from the pandemic, because that's something I definitely took away from the pandemic.
Me as well, bro. That's beautiful, bro. That's crazy. It's beautiful when you realize those things that you just addressed. What you want and what's the purpose of you being in a specific space, because literally everything happens for a reason, and once you figure out that reason, that's when everything else is unlocked. Man,
I had to realize
look, bro,
everything was a learning experience.
you said what?
I had to realize everything is a learning experience.
Definitely is. So, bro, I just want to say, bro, I appreciate you once again. This was a very powerful talk, very powerful discussion, and I believe that people definitely do need to hear it, man. Appreciate you once again for coming, my boy Jordan.
Thank you for having me
Sheesh,
on.
of course, brother. We definitely got to link again soon out of Brood Awakenings. And it's that conversation of Brood Awakenings, I was like, okay, for sure. Definitely got to have that man on the show, for sure. So I appreciate you once again, bro.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So in closing, family, we see that mental health is deeper than just a diagnosis. It's deeper than being called crazy, okay? Craziness is a term made by society built off ignorance. It's just a lack of understanding of what an individual is going through. Just because someone is going through something mentally does not completely isolate them from all of society, because we are all going through something. But the difference is they either chose to accept it or deny it. That's the difference between recognizing what we're going through, and that goes far beyond mental health. Family, once again, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did, and I love y'all. Please have a great rest of your week.